911. Where is your emergency?
No, my friend been shot. But the other person is still in the house with my friend.
You say your friend been shot.
I need him. I'm in his house. He's
Okay, ma'am. Did somebody shoot your friend at your house?
Yes.
They shot him. Who shot him?
A 911 call came in at 11 p.m. from an apartment complex in Monroe, Georgia.
It's 11 p.m. at an apartment complex in Macon, Georgia, where police respond to a report of a shooting.
The caller said her friend had been shot. She said someone else was coming into the house. She was the one who led officers to the body.
Police later identify the woman, seen here, as 27-year-old Jada Johnson, their 911 caller and soon-to-be suspect.
How do you get into the door?
The back door is unlocked, but the front door, I locked it. But when I ran and got my kids, I locked the front door.
Where your kids at?
They're with the neighbor right now.
Okay, who's upstairs?
It's my friend.
Is he shot?
Yes, he's been shot. I don't know if he's alive. I didn't get to check. I don't know.
All right.
Did someone come around back there?
You was just walking on the backside.
Yeah, I was trying to get your attention.
Okay.
And she was the one who, within hours, found herself sitting across from a detective, not as a witness, but as a suspect facing a felony murder charge. That is where this story begins. Not at the shooting, at the phone call, because the two things are not as separate as they first appear. Picture a trapdoor. It looks exactly like the floor around it. You only know it was there after someone has already fallen through. That is the architecture of what happened inside that apartment on that November night. Everything on the surface suggested one story. Everything underneath suggested another. And the distance between those two versions is where Waymond Danzy, 39 years old, lost his life. If this kind of meticulous evidence-first investigation is what you come here for, you are in the right place. Subscribe to the Dark Discovery Files and turn on notifications, because we do not move until the record supports it. Start with what is documented. According to court records, officers responding to the scene found Waymond Danzy inside the apartment with a gunshot wound to the chest.
Inside, police find 39-year-old Waymond Danzy with an apparent gunshot wound to the chest, according to court documents. Waymond was pronounced dead on scene a short time later. Next, more backup arrives when all eyes turn to Jada for answers.
He was pronounced dead at the scene. The caller, the woman who brought officers around to the back entrance, who told them the front door was locked because she had run to get her kids, was identified as 27-year-old Jada Johnson. She was the resident of that apartment. She was, by her own account, present when the shot was fired. And she was, within the same night, secured in a patrol car and transported to the police station for questioning.
There's two rivers over here. Hey, secure her in the car. Okay. Come on, let's go this way. Go this way with me. Come on. I need you to go with me, man.
I need some more. Why do I need to be secure?
That sequence matters. Caller, witness, suspect, all three within the span of a few hours. Not because investigators made a leap, because the evidence, piece by piece, began pointing in a specific direction. Here is the first thing that did not fit the reported version of events. Jada told officers that an unknown male had come into her apartment and shot her friend. An intruder. A stranger. That is the shape of the story she offered at the scene. Fragmented, distressed, but pointing outward. Away from herself. Away from any plan. When officers arrived, they noted she had what appeared to be scratches on her head. A shell casing was located inside the apartment. And the officers on scene, according to their own radio communications, already had doubts. Her story and their words did not add up.
10-4 dispatch, we got a shell casing. You might want to go ahead and notify the investigator crime lab.
10-4.
What's up, nigga?
She got scratches on her head too.
Yeah, I know that. She ain't telling them.
He definitely.
Yeah, watch that shell casing.
Watch out.
Yeah.
That detail, the story that does not add up, is not a conclusion. It is a starting point. When a detective read Jada her Miranda rights back at the station and asked her to walk through everything from the beginning, she did not refuse. She talked.
It's gonna be a crazy night.
Next, a detective reads Jada her Miranda rights back at the station before questioning her further.
From the beginning, tell me everything from the beginning to the end again. There'll be more detail and explain everything, all right? From the beginning, like when you met Waymond, to this guy, until what happened when you encountered with me.
I don't remember exactly when I met Wayne, but I know it was September.
September.
It was around September because I had to pay the rent, and I was
You paid rent in September?
Yes.
Okay.
I paid rent in September.
At length. And in that conversation, a different architecture began to emerge. One with a timeline, a motive, and a plan that had been constructed well before 11 p.m. Jada explained that she had met Waymond Danzy through an online platform while working as an escort. She described him as someone who had become, in her words, like a guardian angel.
He just was, at this point, he became he was like a guardian angel for me. He wanted to make sure I was okay. If something was wrong, call him. Even yes, he just had met me in the car. To sound crazy, it might be, I don't know, but he wanted to make sure I was okay.
He checked on her. He showed up when things were difficult. And in the months before the shooting, according to her account, he had become someone she trusted. That relationship becomes important context for what she described next. Jada told the detective that a separate client, a man she declined to fully identify, had come to her apartment on a prior occasion, received services, and then refused to pay. According to her account, he pulled a gun on her. He told her he was not leaving. He took money from her.
I come back, I'm already here. I'm not leaving, I just had to pay this nigga gas. The money so I could come over here. It's just this, and he got the whole time, he got the gun out. Now,
When you do that?
at this point, he got the gun, and he pointed at me, so what you gonna do?
Okay.
He get me. I'm not going nowhere. You got cameras in here. He walking around trying to look at stuff. He forced me to get it. He hit me. Then he got done, and he's just like, oh yeah, here, request this, taking the money from this cash app. He gave me 2 cash apps. It's not showing up. I just say, look, it's okay. Just, you got no cash app, and you see, because when he was sitting on the bed, he told me to send me before any of this, before he ever pulled the gun out and stuff. He gave me my app, and extended it to me on these screens. Then I just said, you got my cash app? And just trying to get my $1,000. Don't even worry about it. Once you get this situation, you got the cash app, just send it to me.
Okay. How much you supposed to get you for that?
$125.
$125 for okay. But he won't. I mean, he basically didn't pay you for what he did, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He took it.
Yeah.
Took it. Took.
He didn't have the money.
He didn't have the money to pay you.
And when he finally left, he sent her a text message, 2 words. We good. With a question mark. As though nothing had happened. As though she would simply absorb what had been done to her and move forward.
You heard that right. Jada says her alleged assailant sent her a message saying, quote, we good? After the incident. A message she says she later showed to Waymond before the pair allegedly decided to get even.
Oh, okay.
That's when Waymond, because Waymond got mad.
She showed that message to Waymond. And that is where the plan, according to the court record, began to take shape. Jada described Waymond's reaction as anger. Protective anger, the kind that calcifies quickly into something operational. He had, according to her account, a plan with specific details. He would wait inside the apartment while she lured the man back. He talked about robbing him, about making him and whoever came with him hand everything over. He put on black gloves. He had a firearm.
I kept him calling, and he that's perfect. He got here right on time. He's now walked the basketball. Like I said, I heard the Velcro. And when I finally seen his hands, he had put the gloves, had some black gloves on.
And he told Jada to have her own weapon out when the man arrived, to keep it on him while Waymond moved.
He said, that's when he said, the friend came, he said that he was gonna go out there and draw down on them too. He was gonna take everything they had.
Rob them?
Yeah, he was gonna rob them. He was gonna make them pull their pants down to their ankles. He had a whole plan. Yeah.
So did he tell you to go along with it?
He did.
He did.
You know, he said that when that was supposed to take place, he wanted me to you know, keep my gun on the guy while he was in the house.
Why did you agree to it?
Now ask yourself this. At what point does a plan become a crime, even if no one pulls the trigger? That question is not rhetorical. It is, in fact, the legal mechanism that led to Jada Johnson being charged with felony murder. Georgia law, like many states, allows a murder charge to attach to a participant in an underlying felony. In this case, the alleged aggravated assault and armed robbery scheme. Even if that participant did not fire the weapon, you do not have to hold the gun. You have to be part of the architecture that put the gun in motion. And the architecture here was documented in Jada's own words. She admitted to texting the alleged victim of the original assault, the man who had refused to pay, to lure him back to the apartment.
I don't care about the money.
All right,
With the alleged robbery plan in mind, the detective reviews messages Jada says she sent to the intended target to allegedly lure him to her apartment where Waymond would be waiting for him.
I'm trying to come over there. You know that. What time is it? Okay, 7. Then he said, you still didn't send me that cash out. Okay, can you wait till around 9 so I can put my kids to bed? And he's all right, babe. And he said that way we can Netflix and chill. All right, so at that time, you said you called Waymond and said, so tell me to Waymond and said,
He called me.
He called me.
Mm-hmm.
So then he said, okay, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And what time what time did you open the door?
11:20.
She told him to come at a specific time after 9, once her kids were in bed. She said she framed it as a casual visit. According to the detective's review of the messages, the man agreed. He said 20 minutes. He was on his way. Waymond arrived first. Consider the weight of that timeline. 2 men heading toward the same apartment on the same night, for entirely different reasons. One thinking he was walking into something ordinary, the other already wearing gloves. That is not an accident. That is a plan. Jada's account of what happened next is where her narrative begins to fracture at the edges. She described a scene of chaos, the 2 men struggling, tussling, knocking into walls, fighting throughout the apartment.
By Christian Street, I seen Wayne punching him a couple times, punching him.
Yes, baby.
And now while he was over here, the dude was saying, because Wayne was talking to him, like, you heard this, he like, I got the money for you, I came here to bring you the money.
What that dude
That's what the dude was saying. And Wayne was like, no, mine, you wasn't bringing her no money. You told her saying her kids was here, so they talking to him, they talking back and forth while they fighting. But now at this point, they all over the house. Holes in the wall, they just all over, knocking over everything. And I guess once Waymond felt like he was getting the best of him, that's when he told me to shoot him.
What did you say? How you said it?
He said, shoot this.
She said she had her gun out because she was frightened. She said the gun was knocked from her hand and the magazine came loose. She said Waymond at some point during the fight told her to shoot. She said she did not. And then she heard a gunshot. She took her children and left the apartment. Then she called 911. That version of events, panicked, reactive, unintended, is the version Jada offered to the detective. And it contains elements that are genuinely difficult to verify or refute without forensic reconstruction. The position of the body, the trajectory of the bullet, the location of the shell casing. These are the kinds of details that investigators and prosecutors work from when building or dismantling a narrative. What is not in dispute because it is reflected in court records is the outcome. Jada Johnson was booked on felony murder and aggravated assault. The murder charge was later dropped as part of a negotiated resolution. She pleaded guilty to aggravated assault. She was sentenced to 5 years of incarceration followed by 15 years of probation. That is 20 years of legal consequence attached to a night she described, at least in part, as something that happened to her rather than something she caused. The story that does not add up has a way of finding its resolution in a courtroom. But there is a thread here that the court record leaves deliberately unresolved. The man who allegedly fired the shot, the man Jada described as present as fighting with Waymond, as the one whose gun ultimately discharged, was never publicly identified as a suspect. According to available records, no information on a possible suspect in Waymond Danzy's shooting has been released. The case in that specific dimension remains open, which means that somewhere in the accounting of this night, there is a figure who entered that apartment, was present when a man was killed, and has not been formally identified or charged. Jada's account places him there. The fight, the gloves, the gun, all of it described with the kind of granular, uncomfortable specificity that comes from having witnessed something directly. And yet, as of the last available public record, that person remains outside the formal reach of the case. Think about what that means for Waymond Danzy. He was the one who came to that apartment with the stated intention of protecting someone he cared about. He was, by every account in the record, the person who organized the confrontation, and he was the one who did not survive it. His death was not accidental in the way that word is typically used. It occurred inside a situation that was deliberately constructed. The question of who is most responsible for that construction is one the legal system resolved partially through Jada's plea. The question of who fired the shot has not been resolved at all.
Jada says the pair's plan literally backfired when Waymond ended up shot in the incident before she called police. Next, the 27-year-old is informed that investigators don't exactly think she's innocent in the situation.
You take it off. Take it off. Let me check. All right. Well, I got some bad news, all right? Yeah. Yeah. Ain't looking good. What you went on? The fact that it was arranged how it was arranged, and it's my doubting process, that's why.
I'm going in jail for murder.
What you went on? Yeah.
No, that can't be right, no.
Jada was booked for felony murder and aggravated assault. As part of a deal, prosecutors later dropped the murder charge while Jada pleaded guilty to aggravated assault, court records show. The 27-year-old was sentenced to 5 years behind bars, followed by 15 years of probation. But the question remained.
That gap between what is adjudicated and what is known is where cases like this tend to live for years. Jada, during her interrogation, made one statement that has a particular resonance when placed against the full architecture of the night. When the detective pressed her on whether she had agreed to Waymond's plan, she said it clearly. She did not agree to kill anybody. Not as a legal defense, not as a prepared statement, but as a raw, immediate pushback against the framing the detective was offering her. And it is worth taking that statement seriously on its own terms, separate from its legal function, because the distance between agreeing to a robbery and agreeing to a killing is real distance. It is not a technicality. It is the difference between what Jada says she understood she was doing and what the night ultimately produced. Whether the law honors that distinction depends on jurisdiction and charge structure. In Georgia, under felony murder doctrine, it often does not. The underlying felony carries the weight. Participation carries consequence. And that is, in part, why the sentence attached to a guilty plea for aggravated assault still carries 15 years of supervised probation trailing 5 years of incarceration. The legal system is not always interested in what you intended. It is interested in what you set in motion. Waymond Danzy set something in motion when he put on those gloves. Jada set something in motion when she sent those texts. The man she was trying to lure set something in motion when he allegedly pulled a weapon on her weeks earlier and walked out without consequence, believing nothing would follow. These are intersecting decisions, each one narrowing the possible outcomes until the only remaining option was the one that ended a man's life on the floor of a Georgia apartment at 11 o'clock at night. And somewhere in that chain of cause and effect, a person who allegedly fired the shot is still walking around outside the formal record of this case. If you want to trace this case through the public record, Monroe County, Georgia court documents, Specifically, the filings associated with the felony murder and aggravated assault charges against Jada Johnson are the starting point. They reflect the charges, the plea agreement, and the sentencing structure. They do not answer the question of who fired the fatal shot. That is the question the investigators have not yet publicly resolved. So here is what we leave you with. If a participant in an alleged robbery scheme can be charged with the murder that resulted from that scheme, and prosecuted and sentenced, what does it mean that the person allegedly most directly responsible for the killing has not been publicly named? Is that an open investigation? A cold trail? Or something else entirely? Leave your answer in the comments. And if this kind of evidence-first, document-driven investigation is what you come here for, like this video, share it with someone who needs to know about this case, subscribe to the Dark Discovery Files, and turn on notifications. We will be here when the record has something new to say.